What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be reacting to a video from Shoe on Head, very popular YouTuber. She's kind of a men's right advocate to an extent. She does look into the issues that men are going through. Anyways, I'll let her speak for herself on that. But we're going to be looking into a video that she released a few days ago, I think. It's called the Male Loser Epidemic. Let's get into it in 3, 2, 1. Sorry.
Hello again, friends. Sorry I've been gone for quite a bit. Hopefully nothing too crazy happened. I feel like every time I take a break, like, a war breaks out or something, but thankfully that did not happen. But at least we found out the real Epstein files were the friends we made along the way. Welcome back to the Shoe on Head channel. If it is your first time
Apparently,
here,
there were no Epstein
run.
files to begin with.
I am Shoe on Head, and on this channel I
That's what
like
they're
to
telling us, at
cover
least.
cultural issues mostly surrounding men's issues. It's what I've been doing for over a decade, and frankly, I'm exhausted. Many of you have been
That
along
tends
for
to
the
happen.
ride, and you have seen me go from a chipper, lively 24-year-old making fun of BuzzFeed and Tumblr feminists to a bitter, calloused 34-year-old talking about very real and growing men's issues. One of the main men's issues I have been covering in great detail lately has been the male loneliness epidemic. Yeah, but turns out I was wrong. We don't have a male loneliness epidemic. We have a male loser epidemic. It's not a male loneliness epidemic. No, it's a male mediocrity epidemic. It's a male loser epidemic.
The male loser epidemic has gotten so bad that it's honestly so pathetic at this point.
Okay, so before she goes any further, something I want to address is there is no such thing as a male loser epidemic. I'm sorry. This is just a buzzword. This is a buzz phrase, essentially, a sentence. Because what happened here is there was a test that went on a couple years back, and that test essentially just proved that men were not getting into a relationship as much as they were used to before. They were basically avoiding relationships, and people just used it to coin this term male loser epidemic, and now women just run with it. The funniest thing is when you see people that actually have problem in the dating markets and do all these TikToks and all complaining that they can't find a partner and all, it's mostly women who do those shit. It's mostly women, and I might end up doing a compilation video of women essentially complaining about it, but you hardly see men regularly just complaining that, oh, I can never find a woman to date. Not that they can, it's still difficult for them too, but they're not going crazy about it. And men's suicide rates are up, but it's not just for not being able to find a woman, it's for other things entirely. Jobs are not as easy to get and they don't even pay as well, but thinking that women is the biggest problem, women not accepting men is the biggest problem that ever happened to them, you're sorely mistaken on that, man. Let's get into it.
Now, I don't always talk about men's issues. No, sometimes I talk about politics, and sometimes I mix the two together. Now, I know a lot of you don't like politics, you don't care about politics, but politics cares about you, and it will enter your life no matter how hard you try to avoid it. But thankfully, I have the perfect app to help you navigate this
We have
difficult,
to let the ad play,
confusing
guys.
political landscape. So
Let her
let's
make that
quickly
money.
give
She
a
has
shout
to
out to
get the
today's
ads.
sponsor, Ground News, before we get into this video, shall we? Ground News is a website and an app that gives readers a fun and transparent way to read the news from all across the political spectrum, from left, right, and center. Every story comes with a quick visual breakdown of the political bias, ownership, and headlines that helps you understand the full story and make sure you're getting both sides.
Considering
one of my favorite features from Ground News has to be the blind spot feature, which shows you news stories that have been covered by only one side of the political spectrum and ignored by the other. For example, here is a story about how the CIA uncovered a Russiagate fraud, and right away we can see how it has been covered by 41 sources, and out of those 41 sources, 93% of them lean right, with only 2 left-wing outlets reporting the story. Ground News also makes it really easy to compare headlines to see just how political bias can affect the framing of a story. For example, this story about Zohran Mamdani winning the Democratic primary in New York. This left-leaning outlet says Zohran Mamdani's win just got a little sweeter, and meanwhile the right-wing outlet says, meet Zohran Mamdani, the man who will ruin New York. As you can see, very different vibes. I have been using Ground News since 2021 because I think it is so informative, so fun, and it helps me see how different stories are framed so differently, and I love it. I highly recommend it. It's one of the few apps that I wake up and just immediately check. But don't just take my word for it. Even the Nobel Peace Center called it an excellent way to stay informed, avoid echo chambers, and expand your worldview. High praise. Best of all, I am currently offering 40% off their Vantage plan, which is the plan I use to access all of their amazing features. This comes out to only like $5 a month, which is like the price of a coffee.
Decent.
So go to ground.news/shoe or use the QR code right there on screen or the link in the video description down there to subscribe to Ground News today. I feel like what they're doing is really important, especially right now, and it helps us approach the news in a more fair and balanced way. So thank you to Ground News for sponsoring this video, and thank you, the viewer, for not skipping the ad. Right? Now, let's get back to the video.
Oh, okay, this game. I don't wanna.
You're not ready for it.
I'm sorry.
With all these issues men are facing, they seem to be moving to the right and the Republicans more, since the left and Democrats have essentially just become the young men eat and die movement. Months ago, I covered how the Democratic Party was losing young men, and I predicted Kamala Harris would lose in part because of young men overwhelmingly voting for Trump. And I was correct. Well, now the Democrats have unveiled their final solution to the right-wing male loser epidemic. Democrats spending millions to learn how to speak to American men and win back the working class. Democrats have blown millions of dollars on efforts to appeal to American men who turned to President Donald Trump in droves on Election Day in hopes of winning back the working class. Democrats have spent $20 million on their efforts, with donors and strategists holing up in luxury hotel rooms, brainstorming how to convince working class men to return to the party. Ah yes, no.
Weren't these the same people that apparently went into debt after the election because they spent too much on Kamala Harris's campaign? Weren't these the same people that went so far in debt that even Trump was trying to like help them out with some of their debt by paying some of it off? And now they're looking for how to spend more money to appeal to the male audience that, in all honesty, they drove away because they kept shitting on men and basically insulting men and saying, you're the problem. If you vote for Trump, you're a sexist, you're against women, you're against humanity, you're against everything, you're racist. They they insulted every category of men, but the men that they actually insulted the most were the white men in my opinion. I'm a black dude, but they insulted the white dudes way more than they did the black dudes. I'm sorry. And to think that, funnily enough, the conservatives didn't even really try to appeal to men that much. They just knew to not antagonize the men. And the men essentially then just chose to go to where they were not being antagonized, which is the conservative side. To me, the liberals just pushed themselves away, honestly. So, oh gosh. You know what? Let's keep going.
Nothing more relatable to working class men than luxury hotel rooms. Great job, guys. The plan? Codename SAM, or Speaking with American Men, a strategic plan, promises to use the funds to study the syntax, language, and content that gains attention and virality in these spaces. The effort also recommends Democrats.
Sorry, I just need to go back for a bit. I just need to. The syntax, language, and content. Are these people gonna start having like 60, 70-year-old men posting TikToks or something? I don't understand. What the hell do they mean by the syntax, language, and content that gains attention and virality in these spaces? Bro, come on. This is not what, you know what?
Study the syntax, language, and content that gains attention and virality in these spaces. The effort also recommends Democrats buy advertisement in video games, among other things.
Wow.
The Democratic Party is treating young men like exotic animals they're studying. Now, as you can see here is the young man in his natural habitat, in a dark, messy cave surrounded by Taco Bell wrappers and empty Mountain Dew bottles. Here is another young man, as you can see, also dwelling in a dark cave. This one has dyed his hair blue to scare off potential predators. Unfortunately, it also scares off potential mates, but moving on, here is another young man, we think. We're not quite sure about this one. We're still studying it. Listen, Democrats, instead of spending 20.
Okay, so Destiny is a special. I don't know if he's the kind of person they're trying to appeal to, honestly, in terms of young men. I don't know if Destiny's that kind of person. Nox on the other, I follow Nox. So I don't know if you should have put him in this scenario, show on head, but it's fine.
$20 million to do that stupid. Maybe you should I don't know, actually listen to men? I listen to men for free all the time. All I have to do is read my comment section. Let's see here. Shoe on Head is a perfect example of why we need to repeal the 19th. Greetings from Albania. I hate women so much it's unreal. Ooh, shoo, mommy, milkies, 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 mommy, mommy, mommy. One time I got my penis stuck in a soda bottle. Okay, on second thought, maybe my comment section is not the best source.
Since Trump scored big with young male voters last election, Democrats are spending $20 million to learn how to speak their language. I think it's a waste of money. Maybe these guys should spend their money on teaching men to not be such sexists. Maybe that's it.
But the stats don't bear that out now.
You see, this is the problem. You have the Democrats. They kept insulting men, very much so like what she just did. They kept insulting men, and in doing that, you drove men further and further away from you, and now you're acting like these men are some animals that are in a cage that you need to understand through extensive study. No, you drove them away from you. All you need to do is find the right way to bring that. You don't really need to. All you need to do is listen to the complaints they had from the beginning. Fuck, I'm getting a little flustered. From the beginning, and you'll get the results you want. But no, they're acting like these men are animals to be studied. Like you need specimens in a jar, man. I don't even understand what's going on here. And then you have, well, I never really rate anything that goes on The View, honestly. This show should have been cancelled, in my opinion, years ago. These women do not know what they're talking about. And anytime a man comes on there, he ends up challenging them and makes them look like a fool. Not even a man sometimes. Sometimes any woman that is based or has common sense. This is just a think tank where they get to release whatever useless bullshit that comes out of their mouths. Oh, I'm probably going to have to censor that. But where they get to shoot in whatever nonsense they feel the need to say there. Like, in my opinion, that is definitely not the best place to get any information with regards to appealing to or trying to garner the attention of men. Those women are already well into their latter years to where they no longer have any real value towards young men, honestly. I doubt there's any men even watching The View. Even older men, I doubt they're watching The View, honestly. Maybe unless they're the husbands of these women, they're just watching it to appeal to their wives, I guess. But I don't think any man is really cares what the women on The View think, honestly, about men. Let's keep going.
Look at what young women have to choose from. The pickings are slim. Yes, we might have a feminism problem in America, but it's the feminization of men. There are a lot of young women out there that want to get married. They want to have kids. They want to have stable families. But there are a lot of young men out there who want to live in mama's basement and order DoorDash.
Oh no. The very night I was sitting on my couch.
Is this not the same Tommy Lauren that I saw in a video who complained about her and her friends not being able to find good men? First off, you can't have a lot of the reason why men choose to stay at home, the men that I know, the guys that I know, they chose to stay at home for a little bit more, is because, one, it's not as easy to afford the things that you want right now because inflation and the fact that the money that people are making from their desk jobs is not as much as you'd expect when you're much younger in your 20s and all. So everybody decides, let's stack that bread. You stay at home a little bit longer. If your parents allow you, stack up your bread so that when you are done stacking up your bread, you can then just comfortably move out on your own after you've had enough time to stack up. And my parents allowed me to stack up my bread too, honestly. So I don't know why they're acting like it's a situation where you have to run out of the house as soon as possible. And even to the guys who stay at home, honestly, for the most part, I get even this stay-at-home sons thing. It's not that big of a situation. Like, you know what? Let's just keep going. I think there's more on that topic first before I say anything.
Writing the script to my video about how the Democrats are spending $20 million to relate to young men. This came on my TV on Fox News. A Tommy Lauren and Laura Ingraham segment about stay-at-home sons, men who still live at home. Literally minutes after this aired, it went absolutely viral on Twitter for not good reasons. So we are going to unpack this piece by piece. Because even though everyone was mocking it and making fun of it, as far as I saw, nobody was really dissecting it and breaking down exactly why she was so egregiously wrong. So come join me in debunking the male loser epidemic. Because who else better equipped to talk about men's issues than two stupid blonde bimbos? Hold on one second. 3 stupid blonde bimbos. Sorry. I felt left out. Alright, let's go. Wait. I need my gamer fuel. See? I do drink it. That one's for you, Tectone.
It's a major problem. And you know, Speaker Johnson has been talking about those maybe deadbeat folks that are on Medicaid, and maybe some of those folks are the stay-at-home sons. We don't know. But I'll tell you this, leave it to Gen Z to rebrand laziness and social awkwardness as something cutesy, like a stay-at-home son. But Laura, I gotta tell you, this is also a big problem when it comes to, I think, declining birth rates, people not getting married and having children. You know, that's a big problem. They blame it on women. Well, look at what young women have to choose from. The pickings are slim. Yes, we might have a feminism problem in America, but it's the feminization of men. There are a lot of young women out there that want to get married. They want to have kids. They want to have stable families. But there are a lot of young men out there who want to live in mama's basement and order DoorDash. And that's why we have declining birth rates and a lot of other problems in society. It's time to go out, get a job, breathe the fresh air, meet people in real life. Let's just get back to basics.
So first of all, this stay-at-home son thing is not a real thing. It was a random throwaway, self-deprecating joke some contestant on Jeopardy said. One f***ing guy. Because I guess there's nothing else important going on that they could cover on the news. They literally made this into a fake phenomena so they can on young men. Meanwhile, Democrats are spending millions.
You see why I said even the male loser epidemic thing that they tried to shoot out is not a real thing. It's a buzzword they created to shit on men. Apparently, this is also just a buzzword they created to shit on men. Stay-at-home sons, for the most part, is not a real thing. They're either trying to move out of their parents' house as quickly as possible to get independence, or they're staying there so they can stack up bread so that they can eventually leave and be much more comfortable and on their feet comfortably when they do eventually leave the house. Oh, God. You have these people shitting on men constantly, and the Democrats who also shit on men constantly. And then you act so surprised when these men don't want anything to do with you guys, honestly. Oh, gosh. I don't understand if you think you can really shame young men into being interested in you. And this is something I'm noticing with modern women. Women have standards. Men learn and understand that to get with a woman of a certain degree that you like, you're going to have to try and move up yourself and increase your level so that you're up to those standards. Women, on the other hand, forget that the men they want, who on most occasions are higher than them in just about every aspect, they earn more. Maybe the men are also very attractive in their own right, probably have a lot of money, have a lot of status, have a lot of women also interested in them. They forget that those men would also now, because of they're in their, I don't like to use this term that often, but high status men, essentially, those men also have standards of their own. And due to the fact that they also have standards on their own, the woman has to be able to provide value or raise her own level to a standard. Now, what I'll say is this. Women expect you to raise your standard. Those things that I mentioned, value, money, also you have to have height and all that, and a good build, because those are the things they're interested in. Men's standards are not necessarily the same thing. Now, women, instead of trying to live up to men's standards, they decide to just shit on men's standards and shit on men as much as possible and shame them as much as possible into just accepting them. That's even the high value. They try to even shame the high value men into just accepting them the way they are. Like, that is not going to work. That is not going to happen. I mean, come on. Like, you have her here trying to shame young men. But again, I'll try and find the video probably after the show on head stuff. Maybe I'll just put it at the end, where she herself was complaining that she and her friends could not find any men, and that the quality of men they wanted either did not want them or were not as readily available as they expect them to be available. You cause your own problems, man. You think men see your videos and see you on the news shitting on men regularly, and they'll be like, oh, that's Tommy Lorraine, the woman who I constantly see shitting on men on TV. Let me go ask her out. Or let me go ask her friends who probably have the same mindset as her out and see if they're interested in me. And hell, even if they might be interested in me, how are they going to treat the people around me that they see as not being on their level? What if she's interested in me but her friends are not, and so they shit on me? What if she's not interested in me but her friends see me as decent and she just shits on me other ways? Like, whatever.
Of dollars trying to win back young men. Oh no, the young men are leaving us in droves. How do we get them back? Don't worry, I got this. Hey, you fat, lazy, Cheeto dust covered slobs, you.
It's exactly what I said.
Nice.
You're trying to
Thanks.
shit on
I
them
love
into
you.
coming
I love
back
you
towards
too.
you. You're trying to humiliate them into coming back towards you. I don't know whether they
Sometimes
think.
all you
I don't
need
know if they
to
think.
actually succeed in life is
Yeah,
to
let me
meet
just
your
skip
helper. You see,
this.
guys, this person right there behind.
I don't know if
Is
they
the
think
amount of
young men
young
have.
men living home with their
Like
parents
young men,
increasing?
honestly, do
Yes.
not
Is
care
it
about
because
being
they're lazy
shamed.
bums and
That's the
just want
honest
to
truth.
order
They don't care about
DoorDash all
being shamed.
day?
It
No.
doesn't matter to
And also,
them.
they're not paying for DoorDash, Tommy. They're financing it. Come on. Get with the times.
There are a lot of young men out there who want to live in mama's basement and order DoorDash. And that's why we have declining birth rates. It's time to go out, get a job, breathe the fresh air.
Have either of you tried applying for a job as a young man recently? Or tried buying a house on the salary of one of these young men? Have you experienced the dating?
Yeah, I referenced this. The fact that it's so difficult to afford anything now. And it's not just in the US, funnily enough. It's all around the world nowadays. Like inflation is just about everywhere. It's only a few countries now that you see that are not either seeing signs of inflation or being heavily affected, by inflation. And this is cross continents. Like continents and countries in Africa are feeling this shit. Countries in Europe are feeling it too. Like there's almost nowhere there's not feeling heavy levels of inflation right now. And it's affecting men because men are still expected to be heavily the provider. Even if you don't provide everything, you provide at least 70% in most scenarios. While the woman gets to keep stacking up her bread if she works, or in some cases she doesn't work. And then when all that's happened, if she decides she wants to leave you, she gets half of everything you've ever worked for in your life. To me, this seems like a shit deal, man. But okay.
Market been on the dating sites as a young man? No? Interesting, okay. Just wondering. Listen, I know the average age of a Fox News viewer is like 70 nowadays and you need to pander to them, but Tommy, you are like 2 years younger than me. You know this shit isn't true. Why are
Exactly. That's why I keep saying I feel she's just saying all this shit for her job, man. She does not look that old. Like maybe she's old by like Gen Alpha standards, but she seems like she's either Gen Z or in between, just tilting in between Gen Z and millennial. She does not look that old. Like, come on. Oh God, I don't know how. Maybe I'll Google her. You know what? Let me even try and see how old Tommy Lauren is. Maybe I'll be able to get that up here. Tommy. Sorry, I'm an old man when it comes to shit. Law. Yeah. Where's I should be able to easily see her age here. I don't know if 32 years old. Now when does sorry guys, I don't really follow like I don't know when I know my sis is very close to that age, so I don't know if she's Gen Z start. Okay, I was right. She's millennial actually. She's actually millennial. That you see? She's millennial, but she's very close to Gen Z. She's just 5 years off Gen Z. She's not that far off to be acting like she does not understand anything that's going on here. I mean, come on. You're not that far off to act like you don't understand what the shit is going on in the dating marketplace, in between men and women right now, in the fact that and the struggle that the men go into. And it's that struggle that some women also face in the workforce that makes them become so freaking masculine to where they can't actually even be around a man anymore. Because they're
are you
also men at
talking
that
like
point.
this?
And it's the fact that she's being so insensitive. You're not that deep into the millennial Kool-Aid, ma'am. Come on. You have to at least understand some of what's going on. Come on.
Why are you talking like a fing boomer? I'm sorry, I have no other word for this, but I hate this like generational pick me shit. I was born in the wrong generation. I'm not like those other young people. And you know what? She's not like those other young people. Not all young people can afford a nice nose job and lip filler and
Now, another thing is, I talk about Gen Z and all. Gen Z is feeling this shit too that I'm referring to, but millennials also feel it. So she should even be feeling it. I'm sorry, I keep mistaking millennial and boomer. No, boomer came before millennials, right? Yeah, because I'm pretty sure about that. Boomers came before millennials. Let me see the generations. Let me just see the generations. Yeah, this should be what I'm looking for. Millennials born, yeah, Gen Z. Some sources may also include like silent generation. Okay, so Gen X is what's before the millennials, I guess. So boomers are even older. And she's acting like a freaking boomer, man. Come on. There's no excuse, man. She's freaking just pandering at this. She's just freaking pandering. I'm sorry.
And get a cushy job on Fox News based entirely on merit, I'm sure. The main problem with this brain-dead boomer-ass take is not only is it...
I don't want to talk too much on that on what she just said about merit, but that is something that actually also what's her name? The lady who was working, the lady who was working for a TV host who was fired. No, sports host. You guys probably already know who it is I'm trying to find. I don't know her name. It might also be Fox, funnily enough, man. Gosh, I don't even know how to type this shit to where it brings her up immediately. Is it Joy Taylor? Yeah, it might be Joy Taylor. Let me just see if maybe that's who I'm looking for. I think it's Joy Taylor, man. Jeez, why did the name not pop up to me much sooner? Let me see. Yeah, it's freaking exactly. Jeez. This is who I was looking for, man. It's Joy Taylor. Now that we're finding out, she basically just used her body to get what she wanted. Who knows who actually, among all these people, both men and women,
but it's completely divorced from reality.
Get what they wanted. Like, come on, let's be honest here. That's probably why she referenced that merit shit, but...
This slop is specifically designed for people who paid like $5 for a f***ing house. And listen, not all boomers, okay? My parents are boomers, they are lovely people. A lot of you guys are boomers. But when the baby boomer generation sends its people, it is not sending their best. They are not sending you. They're sending people who have lots of problems. They're bringing the housing crisis. They're bringing wage stagnation. They're falling for AI-generated photos on Facebook. But some, I assume, are good people. But my god, I truly believe they do not understand how good they had it. They could support a family on a single income. A single income from a job that didn't require a college degree. Their leaders didn't prostitute away their economic future for some cheap plastic shit from China. They inherited the greatest economy known to man, and they pretend it's a paradise that they earned. I just don't understand, like, why don't boomers and spiritual boomers like Tommy Lauren see people struggling and go, wow, I wish I could fix this. They should have it better than I had it. And you wonder why so many millennials and zoomers don't want kids. I want to make the world a better place for my children. I want to make the world a better place for my children. Ugh. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps, you spoiled brat. Children. Not happening.
Well, look at what young women have to choose from. The pickings are slim. Yes, we might have a feminism problem in America, but it's the feminization of men.
Young men are becoming lazy because they're becoming feminized.
As well as the masculization of women. The feminization of men and the masculization of women. That's what's going. It's both ways. It's both ways. Honestly, it's both ways. The feminization of men is not even happening that often. It's just the fact that men choose to not be involved with women. And there's something I've been hearing so much recently. How do they normally say this? Those women that have some masculine traits. Okay, yeah, they say when I meet a masculine man, he'll bring out the femininity in me. I'm like, what the frick are you talking about? What do you mean he'll bring out the femininity in you? What? That's like saying I'll go to an office, I want to get a job, I will be a terrible ass worker, but when I meet the right boss or team leader who can talk to me and motivate me, it'll bring out the best worker in me. What? What the heck are you talking about? Oh my gosh.
So they're becoming lazy because they act more like women?
Also, if I just give that analogy and it makes sense to you and you feel it's the right way to go about shit, you're deluded. You're heavily deluded. I'm sorry. That's clear. The analogy was just clearly there to show you that this is wrong. This is the wrong way to look at things.
Women? What did she mean by this, chat? I know there's like a decrease in testosterone or something happening, but men are moving right wing all over the world. Does that correlate with the feminization? Or, I mean, there are suspiciously a lot of far-right femboys, so maybe. But here's the thing, Tammy. There is absolutely no evidence that young women want to start families more than young men. None. In fact, all the data says the exact opposite. According to Pew Research, 64% of women younger than 50 say they just don't want to have children. No reason, they just don't want them. Versus 50% of men who say the same. Another study by Archbridge Institute shows the same. 63% of women without children said they have no desire to have a child, while only 50% of men said the same. For men, the most commonly cited factor was personal finance, but among women, the strongest reason not to have a child was their desire to maintain their personal independence. Basically, they don't want to give up their brunch and mimosas. They've been ass blasted with propaganda their whole lives.
And this is the same thing we always see when men will risk their freedom, their personal independence, everything that they enjoy for their family, even their safety, because most of the time when someone breaks into the house, it's the man who goes out first to do anything. Most of the time, again, I said, the men will risk everything they have for their family. The women, from what we're seeing nowadays, will risk their family for whatever the heck they want, for whatever they want. And that's why no-fault divorce killed marriages, in my opinion. No-fault divorce killed marriages along with the incentives, because in my opinion, it's incentives of where you can come in and take half of whatever your husband has. It's an incentive for them to just go and make use of the no-fault divorce that is available readily to them to just go out and take half of whatever their husband has. And unfortunate enough for that man, if they already have more kids or they have kids in general, because then she's billing you till those kids are 18. And if you're unfortunate enough and she can get you on alimony, there's a very good possibility she will bill you for the rest of your life, because a lot of these women, if they get enough from alimony, they will just not get jobs. They will choose to not go back into the workforce because they know what they are getting from you is enough to sustain them long term. Oh gosh. They really just they killed it. They killed it for everyone.
Lives, telling them their lives will be ruined, their bodies will be ruined, they'll never have fun again, they'll be miserable forever if they have children. And as someone who has had a children, best decision I've ever made. 10/10, highly recommend, would do it again. But yes, this idea that men are the ones primarily responsible for the low birth rates is laughable. We're laughing over here. But honestly, it's not really women or men's fault. There are a lot of factors that play into this. But Tommy, I really gotta ask, is it men?
Hi, this is Noah. So I'm a Google specialist, and last year I helped one of our.
Or is it you?
This is going to be the summer of canceling boys. All of my friends are attractive. All of my friends are successful. All of my friends have something going on.
This is the video. This is the video I was talking about, guys. This is the video where she was complaining about her and her friends not being able to find men. Let's listen.
Almost every single one of them have an issue with men. But if all of these women, including myself, are having issues.
Just notice that the quality of this video is ass, bro. I just noticed.
Then I have to think it might not be us. It might be you. It is not just the guys in Los Angeles, Nashville, Dallas, and they're not any better in the Midwest. They, quite frankly, I think they're trash all over this country.
My friends are successful. Men don't give a shit about that. They'd marry a Walmart cashier if she was nice to them.
I think men between the ages of 20 and 30 are not ready, in most cases, for marriage.
Notice how she continued to insult men throughout that video alongside her friend. She started off by saying the cancellation of men. Cancellation of men. And you think any man's going to see a video and want to even walk up to you in public or at the club or anywhere and to come up to you or any woman that is around you who you probably would assume is the friend or are the friends you were referring to in that video. You think he'll want to walk up to any of you to ask you whether or not you look good or not? whether or not you have a job or not. And again, men don't care if you have a job. Men, well, nowadays they probably do because two-income households are important. So men do care if you at least can take care of yourself. But most of the time they don't care if you have enough of a job to where you can take care of the bills in the whole house. Honestly, they see you more as a support.
Are usually not ready to be husbands and fathers.
That's a cultural issue. So, look,
no, I would actually, back to your point, yeah. I think it's a biological thing.
So let me get this straight. Men are all trash and won't commit and won't leave mommy's basement, and they're destroying the birth rates. But also young men are biologically incapable of commitment and being parents. What? But wait, there's more! She also believes women don't have to bring anything to the table.
And as a woman, I want a strong man who is a protector and a provider that will go to war if need be, that will protect me, protect my family, make money. But I don't think a man needs to get something out of it to be a manly man, a protector and a provider. If you think you need to get something out of it, I quite frankly don't consider you a real man.
That last thing she said, a real man. To me, no woman is qualified to tell a man if they're a real man or not. I'm sorry. You just don't have the right to tell a man anything like that. The same way I feel a man does not really have the right to tell you if you're a real woman. Now, you do have the right, I guess, to say, based on your view, what a real man should look like. That doesn't mean you're right. That's just subjective. That doesn't mean you're right at all. But objectively, you don't have the right to tell him that this is what a real man is. I'm sorry, because you don't have that lived experience. You don't know what it's like to be a man. How dare you come in and say, "Oh, this is what it's like to be you." It's like I walk up to a lion or a jaguar and I tell him, "This is what it's like to be a lion. I know this is what it's like to be a lion." You aren't doing the correct thing. I'm here to tell you what it's like. Like, yes, the lion wouldn't understand shit I'm saying, but if he could, he'd also be confused. Like, how the hell do you know what it's like being me every day? Like, no, you don't have the right to tell a man what he is or isn't. You have the right to say what you expect for a man, and in my opinion, that is still delusional because she says she wants a man to be masculine, to be able to fight, to be able to go to war, to be a provider. Yeah, she doesn't feel like she should bring anything to the table. That's literally what she said there. She doesn't feel like she should bring anything. She should offer anything to that man. She didn't even say anything about her looks. She just said that she doesn't feel like the man should get anything in return or he should want anything in return. Because what? I'm sorry. See, in the end, marriage is still a contractual obligation. It's a contract. Both sides have to bring something to the table. You cannot just come there and be expecting to reap all of the benefits of the marriage from the other partner without giving the other partner what he or she should also benefit from that marriage. What are you saying? What are you actually saying? Oh, God. You want the benefits, but you don't want the responsibility. You don't want to do the duties, but you want the obligation that is given to you. You don't want to sow, but you want to reap. That's just insane to me, bro. That's insane to me. The delusion is oh gosh, it's wild.
Never before in history have women demanded so much and offered so little. So before we get deeper into this retarded, manufactured, stay-at-home son narrative, let's check the Facebook comments of this Fox News video because I am really interested to see what, like, the typical Fox News viewer thinks about this. If the women are anything like these two, I can hardly blame the men for staying home and not wanting to date them. Blame, blame, blame.
Damn.
These two women have a combined age of 93 and they have 0 children between both of them.
Okay, that's not what
you both have repugnant personality types, so...
Not saying that these people are wrong for what they're typing. I thought people would be in support of them because they're people that listen to Fox News stuff, so I thought they'd be boomers. But it seems like either these boomers are very based or they're young people. So it's one of the two of those things, honestly. Because they seem to understand and know that these women are not reliable sources for anything in regards to men, honestly.
So listening to this was like male birth control to me. My goodness! Boomers are ruthless! Bunch of sissies. I served 6 years, 2 years in Southeast Asia after Vietnam was over. When I was 18, rent was $450 and I could afford to get my own place. She's so spot on. Nothing screams I'm a loser run from me than a guy living at home in his parents' house with his 12-year-old boy's bedroom decor at age of 30. Thank God we raised our sons to be men, who grew up, lived on their own, found their soulmate, got married, bought a beautiful home, and started a family. I was out the door at 18, worked on the assembly line at Dodge and in the Air Force at 19, never went back home. I can't relate to this. Yes, we know you people can't relate. We know. But the world has changed. Why can't you people get this through your heads? I will never let my sons stay home. I'm trying to push them out of the nest. Okay, I really gotta ask, is this an Anglo thing? Immediately kicking your kid out when they turn 18 years old? My Mediterranean mind cannot comprehend this. And honestly, why the f would a man leave home, leave his mother's cooking, for a woman who probably can't cook? Not me though. Personally, I can cook amazing homemade meals. I'll have you know I am a great trad wife.
Oh. Oof.
Who are you loyal to?
That is something, at least. Not when you lie to you. That is something. Some of them can't even do this.
Now, unfortunately, Tommy Lauren wasn't the only one pushing this stupid, lazy young men go get a job bullshit. Mike Johnson did it, referencing 29-year-old men playing video games all day. Steve Scalise did it with 35-year-old men playing video games all day. And just the other night, I saw this on my TV. Again.
A Wall Street Journal headline got our attention. The new dream job for young men, stay-at-home son. It's a phrase that's taken off since 27-year-old Brendan Leo won $59,000 on Jeopardy. And he has a master's degree in political science, but he's unemployed. Grow up, get a job, get a wife, build a family.
Just get a wife, bro. Just get a job, bro.
Oh, get a job? Yeah. Just get a job? Why don't I strap on my...
Get a wife who after, let's say, 3 to 6 months will probably divorce him and get half of that $50-something thousand that she never even worked to get at all. And Lord helps him if he made some proper investments and got that money to double or triple or who knows, even quadruple during the marriage or before the marriage. She gets even more. She gets even more and leaves him. I mean, in some states, you don't even have to be married. Israel Adesanya's girlfriend tried to take him for half of everything he owned because she thought she was crucial and vital to his success. What do you mean? Dude has been professionally working in the UFC for years before he met you. And you dated him for a year or less than a year. And then you had the audacity to say you deserved half of everything he owned. Oh, gosh.
Job helmet!
And the worst part is, everybody was actually worried that he would lose. That's how bad it is now. That the women get away with stuff like this. That everybody was worried he would still lose half of everything he owned because of a situation like this. Like, normally, this is something we shouldn't have to think of. Oh, she gets nothing. She gets sent out of the courtroom. But because of how badly they've screwed men over with stuff like this, no one was sure. And the reason why we were why it ended up being such an easy dub for Israel is the fact that he also transferred most of his assets to his mom, I think long before he met that woman. So it was a situation where he didn't own anything going into a relationship. So she had nothing to collect. And apparently she's meant to pay him now. And to me, that is a hack that might eventually get patched by the government. That is eventually probably going to get patched. But it's something where that is what happened and the reason why he's not paying. Because nobody really thinks now. Everybody else really thinks probably that is what saved him. Because if not, he would have probably still had to pay. Maybe not half, but something. Because that is how skewed it is against young men. It's insane.
Job cannon and fire off at the job land where jobs grow on jobbies.
The term welfare queen must have fell out of fashion with Republicans because it seems even they know the approved safe demographic to go after now. Because it's very obvious what demographic they are talking about when they say young men in their basements playing video games. This just get a job lazy attitude is not surprising, but it's especially funny coming from Fox News of all places. Fox News that spends so much time yapping about immigrants taking American jobs. Fox News will talk for years about how Americans are being screwed out of the workforce. But when this issue manifests itself in Gen Z, suddenly it's a moral failure. The fact is, a lot of American jobs held by men are being lost to automation, offshoring, and yes, cheap foreign labor. Companies and billionaires would rather have cheap labor that they can essentially abuse, not pay fair wages to, just good little worker drones who won't unionize, rather than hire American workers for a living wage. The cheap
facts, those people are looking for how to fast track their stay in the US or make as much quick money as possible to then start sending over to their country for other people to essentially start buying property in the country, because the US dollar has way more value than most times whatever they have in their own country. And that's why they're trying to fast track their growth in their country by earning currency in a country, in another country's currency that is much higher than theirs. So they're using the US as a leg up essentially. And they don't care if you're not paying them as much as they're paying the other man, because what you're paying them is still significantly higher than whatever they earn working in their own country. And that's why, and the companies know this. So they see it as cheap labor. They'll hire them and fire you who actually knows better.
Cheaper the labor they hire, the more money they make. I remember when Bernie Sanders called open borders a Koch brothers conspiracy.
Open borders?
Open borders.
That's a Koch brothers proposal, which says essentially there is no United States.
But it would make a lot of global poor richer, wouldn't it?
And it'd make everybody in America poor. Then you're doing away with the concept of a nation state.
Where'd that guy go? A lot of these jobs being taken are jobs traditionally held by men, like construction and factory jobs, manual labor work. But it's not just manual labor jobs, it's also the tech industry and business industry, which are careers also mainly held by men. There are many examples of this, such as Microsoft recently cutting thousands of American workers while requesting 14,000 more H-1B workers this year. Some of those job positions include data scientists, which are 70% men, software developers, which are 80% men, and electronic engineers, which are 90% men, and many more like that. Another example of this was...
Yeah, but not even in just that. Young men are losing their jobs by the thousands, man. Like, okay, this is not even to say that they were replaced by anything else, but Xbox, as Microsoft, the company, I think Xbox just laid off, I think it was about 8,000. I think it's over 5,000 at least, though. 5,000, let's see, over 5,000 employees. It's like, I think a week or two ago, maybe at most a month ago, that they laid all these people off. That's 5,000 jobs gone. Gone, just like that. What are those people going to do?
Was Tesla, where roughly 15,000 American employees were fired in April 2024, and many were replaced with H-1B visa holders. On Twitter, Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy tried to chalk this up to these immigrants just simply being the best and the brightest. Yeah, okay. No. You're paying them less for longer hours and more work, and they're willing to deal with it in order to stay in the country. It's coercive, exploitative, and, dare I say, not very America first. When conservatives confronted Elon Musk for this last year, he told somebody, and I quote, "Take a big step back and yourself in the face. I will go to war on this issue, the likes of which you cannot possibly comprehend." So when it comes to replacing American workers in manual labor with cheap foreign labor, it's deport. But when it comes to replacing his American workers with cheap foreign labor, it's yourself in the face. Interesting. Labor. There's also affirmative action and DEI, which are other things Fox News always pisses and shits about. But suddenly, when the conversation is about Gen Z men, the demographic of people who are victims of these things, suddenly these things just like don't exist anymore. Then it's, oh, young men are all just lazy. They just want to be in their parents' basement ordering DoorDash and playing video games. But it's not just the brown people taking your jobs. I am not beating the allegations with this one. The brown people are not taking your jobs, okay? It's not their fault. They're just cheaper. Aim upwards. But it's not just the brown people taking your jobs. It's the women, too.
I was having a conversation with one of my old students, and he told me that all he needs to survive in Nigeria is just $300 in a month.
Many of the dying industries are male-dominated, while many of the growing industries are female-dominated, and stigma around these jobs being woman jobs usually stops men from working them. Women are overwhelmingly entering and excelling in college and the workforce, and they're more flexible about job position and pay, while young men usually hold out for higher-paying, higher-position jobs that will make them the breadwinner. Because you see, despite the world progressing and the role of women changing, the role of men has not changed. Every woman is a feminist until the dinner bill comes. But what's crazy is, women might be the ones paying that dinner bill soon. A study from the UK found women aged 22 to 29 earned about 1,000 more annually than men, completely reversing the traditional gender pay gap for this age group. In the US, a 2022 Pew Research Center analysis showed that women under 30 out-earned men in many metropolitan areas, with median earnings at or above above 100% of men's in cities like New York and Washington, D.C. That may not sound like a lot of money now, but it's a growing trend that has never been seen before. It's so bad that it's really starting to affect the dating world. American women have never been this resigned to staying single. They are responding to major demographic shifts, including huge and growing gender gaps in economic and educational attainment, political affiliation, and beliefs about what family should look like. More women than men are attending college, buying houses, and focusing on their friendships and careers over dating and marriage. The challenges of finding a romantic partner have been made more complicated by a growing divide in education and career prospects between men and women. In 2024, 40% of American women ages 25 to 34 had a bachelor's degree, according to Pew, compared to 37% of men. A bachelor's degree increases net lifetime earnings by an estimated $1 million. Women are doing comparatively well when it comes to education in their early years in the labor force, and men are doing comparatively badly. Men's economic struggles seem to be having the biggest effect on women without a college degree, whose marriage rates by 45 have plummeted to 52% for those born between 1930 and 1980, according to research by Cornell University. Young men without a degree are struggling so much as a group that there simply aren't enough with steady jobs and earnings for non-college women to date. Men are poor, women most affected. Modern women are no longer tied to their gender role. Birth control has freed them from the prison that is their biology, and they are making their own money, sometimes more than men. They can have it all, they can do anything, they can be anything. While at the same time, men are still expected to be the provider. And more importantly, many men still want to be the provider, but they can't. And women, though strong and independent, still want men to be the provider.
And as a woman, I want a strong man who is a protector and a provider that will go to war if need be, that will protect me, protect my family, make money.
Basically, men are like, we're worried we're not making enough money. And women are like, we're worried men are not making enough money.
Exactly.
Hello class, I am Miss On Head. I am substituting.
About that. I'm seeing something here. A common problem. Women complaining that men are not making enough money. Men complaining that men are not making enough money. That's the common problem here. And the only person that's benefiting from this is the people up, the corporate people, the people at the top. Because they ended up getting women into the workforce and pushing them more than men. They got basically double, and in some places, more than double the workforce, because women tend to be more than men in most of these countries. So they ended up getting double or over double in some places the workforce, and sometimes for less, honestly.
Teacher today, she was arrested for molesting a 12-year-old boy. So today we are learning about
too often, honestly.
The graph. This is the growth in productivity versus hourly compensation graph. And you can trace almost everything bad happening in society back to this graph. As you can see, productivity increased while compensation barely grew over the same time period. Notice they tracked very closely up until around 1972. Now, what happened around 1972, class? Well, the top marginal tax rate was reduced from 70% in 1964 to 50% by 1981. The federal minimum wage began to stagnate. Income going to the 1% rose from 9% in the 60s to 16% in 2023. CEOs also went from making 20 times more than the average worker to making 350 times more than the average worker. Anything else? Anything else happen around 1972?
Into the workforce.
Yes, Jimmy, that is correct. Women joined the workforce around this time, but we don't have to get into that today. The fact is, hard work no longer guarantees success, and the will to work is tied to the fruits of your labor. And young men are fed up today because 90% of that fruit is rotten. Now, is there some truth to modern young people being lazy? Sure, I guess. Every generation had lazy people. And we do basically live in late-stage mouse utopia, after all. Young people today are faced with two options: revolution or escapism. And a lot of them are choosing escapism. Many have basically given up, but it's not like they didn't try. They tried, and they found out the juice just isn't worth the squeeze, whether it's college, dating, or the job market. And in a way, many young men are kind of choosing revolution. The never-before-seen large shift rightward in young men is a small revolution in a way. They're saying, This isn't working for me, this sucks, I hate this, I want something different. This is also manifesting on the Democrat side in general. The young men that are still voting left are voting further left. You saw this recently in New York City, where Zoran Mamdani, a self-proclaimed Democratic Socialist, won the Democratic primaries. Young men are tired of the establishment, left and right. They're tired of the system, and they want to burn it down and start again. They want something that works for them, because this is not working for them.
If you wake up one morning and you find yourself in a society where 23-year-olds with 4-year college degrees and like initiative who aren't smoking weed every day, if they can't make enough to buy a car, much less a home, much less get married, much less have children, then why should you be surprised when half of them say they prefer socialism?
Huh. I mean, Fox News should hire that guy. There is an entire generation of fighting-aged men who are enraged and feel like they have nothing to live for. You should probably start caring. When they saw this airing on Fox News, they saw an angry woman nagging in their faces about how everything wrong in the world is their fault. An all too familiar thing they have been hearing for far too long. But unfortunately for Democrats, nobody under the age of 60 watches Fox News, so this is not really going to have an effect on young men whatsoever. So keep that $20 million. You might still need it, unless we get dragged into another war in the Middle East. If we do get dragged into another war in the Middle East, young men might come running back to the Democratic Party. Maybe not even a George Bush II electric boogaloo will have men coming back to the Democratic Party. Hopefully we don't find out. And as I'm editing this right now, a lot of young people, even the podcast bros, seem pretty upset about the Epstein thing, but we know Democrats won't take advantage of the situation in order to protect the Clintons, so maybe not even this will save them, but we'll see, I guess. Hold on one second. That's better. So that was that video. What do you think of the male loser epidemic? Do you agree with Tommy Lauren? Is it all men's fault? Leave your comments below. I read them all. I am probably reading them right now. I'll need it. Unless we get dragged into another war in the Middle East. Entire generation of fighting-aged men who are enraged and feel like they have nothing to. Comments below. I read them all.
Yeah, so on what she said about the men are enraged and they should be worried, that is the truth, because in most places this would start an uprising. They're lucky that the men are satiated by things like drugs, video games, stuff like that, alcohol, stuff like that is really satiating the men and keeping them docile, because if the men were more motivated, they would force this into happening. They would force this into action. They would force the government to carry out their will, because men actually have the power to put force behind whatever they want, honestly. They really should be worried, because once the protests start, if the men are the ones spearheading this protest and they're serious about it, you can bring in the police and they still will fight back against the police, honestly. That's how bad it gets if men really want to get something done. Let me know if you liked the video. Leave a like, share, subscribe, comment to the video. And I'll see you guys in the next one. I'll be reading your comments and responding as quickly as possible. Peace.